Alright, how's it going everyone? As promised, I did want to come back and give you an update on my watch situation. So, I've definitely pounded through a few watches, declaring each one, before the last as the next permanent watch for me. And none of them quite worked out. I've got a fairly average sized, small size wrist, but it's not like it's freakishly small. It's, between 6.5 and 6 3/4 inches, so just on the small side of average. But I just prefer, I do, for better or worse, I do a fair amount of typing. So I'm flexing my wrists backwards a lot. Obviously, that's the kind of the position your wrist is in when you're typing. Forgive, this is a terrible angle, but when your fingers are up on the keyboard, you flex your wrist back. And when I'm not typing, I'm a civil engineer by trade, so I'm in the field and occasionally having to do manual labor. And I enjoy doing manual labor anyway. As you've seen from previous videos, I do bike racing now, and so I work on my bikes a lot. So just having a watch that's kind of unobtrusive is key for me. So what I ended up settling on, and part of this is due to Nick Shabazz's fantastic video. I don't agree with everything he says, but I feel like that's probably the case for anyone watching any video, and he's very honest with his thoughts on watches. So he reviewed this watch. This is an Omega Aqua Terra Quartz. It's an older model. The number in true Omega pointless fashion is 2518.50 and so this is I think this version was made from like the early 2000s up to almost 2010. This is the mid-size version. It's 36 between where you measure it. I measure it here, but depending on the angle and everything, between 36.2 and 36.5 millimeters in diameter, not including the crown. It's about 43.8 to 44 millimeters lug to lug all the way to the end. And then if you include the crystal, which has a decent little dome on it, get this in the middle of the frame, there we go. It's about 10.8 millimeters thick without the dome, just the top of the crown, or just the top of the bezel, so just how it perceives, it's about 10 thick. And I figured I'd make a video. I just wore it to a nice event this weekend, Christmas party for my wife's work. So I have it on this strap that I had custom made over in Slovakia. She's well known, the person who did the sewing is well known on the Omega forums. She does use genuine shell cordovan leather, and to me this is about the most comfortable leather strap you could ever get. I wore a leather strap like this with a Nomos deployed in the desert in the heat and in sweat, and it did fine. So it's inherently waterproof. It's so smooth. But I got one made for this watch, and I've worn it just for a few days extra on there just to get a feel for how the strap reacts. But as you can see, typical with Omega watches, especially from the Bond period, I guess that's what we call it, but I guess it's still the Bond period. But the early Bond period, where you have the first generation Bond Seamasters and stuff, you have just a really elegant watch, and definitely trending towards the dressy side of things, but still incredibly functional. So I don't have a weight on this watch. I didn't bring my scale down, but it's very light, especially just the head. Like, I'd guess probably 60 or so grams for the head. And then, maybe triple that with a bracelet. Very light, very unobtrusive. The nice part about this watch, a lot of people poo-poo the quartz, but there's two key things that are great about this quartz movement. It's the Omega 1538, which is the ETA 255 461. So if you pull it out to the first stop, it jumps by the hour. So it has an independent jumping local hour hand, and that is absolutely huge for, I'm going to try and get this, there we go, so you can see it. Absolutely huge for traveling. I travel a decent amount, but I don't really need a GMT because I'm just traveling, so I just need to be able to change the time when I get there. I don't really care. I've gotten GMTs in before because I travel a lot with the local hour hand that jumps, and it's great, but I feel like it's just more complication than I need, because frankly, I can do the math. Like, usually if I'm somewhere else, I just need to go back home or get the time for back home, and usually I can just do the subtraction and you get used to it pretty quick. Because I'm not really anywhere for like just one day, usually there for at least a week, if not some longer period of time, so I get used to it pretty fast. So the other great thing about this movement, I mean, it's pretty accurate how it is. It's been I've had it on the wrist every day for 3 months, a little over 3 months now, probably almost 4 months. And the nice thing about it is that it's about 0.1 per day right now. Been pretty dead even, maybe a little more, like 0.15. Which is still, that's already like set it once a year fast, or set it once a year accurate. But you can literally you can take out the electronics module for this watch and directly replace it with the modern Longines-esque high accuracy quartz thermal compensated module. And so that direct, I mean, it has to be installed by someone who knows how to work on the movements. But that direct swap means that you get a thermal compensated watch. I haven't done that yet, but I probably will if I can find a Omega independent that'll do it for me. Lume, so I'll zoom in a little bit, see if we can get this to focus. So you can see on the hour there's a little strip around each indice. There's a little strip, and then the top is a double to let you know what is top. The second has a little blip, and then the arrow only on the minute hand has a blip. But despite this not being amazing Lume, it's very usable how I need it to be used. I don't need, I mean, it's great when Lume lasts all night, but practically what I need is when I walk into a dark room until my eyes adjust, I need that Lume to be like torch bright. And that's exactly what this generation of Omega Lume is famous for. It's probably some really, really good application of C1 with blended with C3. People will probably discuss that to no end. As far as this watch, or as far as this generation Omega watches, they're very, very bright, and they do, like, I can read this watch at 2 or 3 in the morning if I need to, but I mean, obviously there are better watches for that. But to me, the other big perk for this watch, you can kind of see it here, even when the watch is in like weird lighting situations, it's almost always possible to read the time just because of the way the faceting is on the indices that are applied. And you can see that it hasn't aged perfectly. If you look at the 1 o'clock, there's some like spotting on the indice, which, I mean, I'm sure if I send it to Omega, they could either swap the dial or polish that out. The other thing that Omegas from this period are famous for is that the cases are very soft. So you can get some dings and scuffs, and I mean, it's a little dirty. I wear it every day. I'm not gentle with it. But it's just a beautiful watch. It's very functional. Never had any issues with it. I've traveled with it extensively. It's just exactly what you need. So that's been what I've been dealing with for a watch. It's water resistant to 150 meters. I had this one pressure tested before I got it. I've swam in the ocean with it, snorkeled with it, whole shebang, no problem. It's just a good watch. It's really, aside from maybe having some more lume, it's really all you need. And I never thought I'd say that about a mechanical watch, but it's just really good. So as far as the bracelet's concerned, zoom back out, it's a really nice, very soft, Omega makes just phenomenal bracelets, especially in this period. It is push pin, pin and collar, and just a headache to get out and get fixed. But once it's dialed in, there are no micro adjusts, which is kind of the other bummer. But the bracelets, it comes with half lengths, and it's really not hard to get a size that fits you pretty close. So it's got a single, it's a deployant clasp, but it's a hidden one, so it's not a butterfly. It's got a single lock. You push it and it releases and it flips open. And then the nice part is, I know people poo-poo the stamped design, but I mean, whatever, it's durable and it's comfortable. And to make it short so that it's comfortable on your wrist, because for those of us without honking massive wrists, my biggest problem with the Manto watches was that they're super duper ultra tough forged whatever blah 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 crap, like stuck out super long. It was never comfortable. It always pinched the bottom of your wrist if you didn't have a huge wrist, and it always like hung off the edge of your wrist. So when you had it on, it would like be sticking out into space, and so it looked terrible. So you know what? I'm fine with stamped. That's no issues with it as long as it feels tough and substantial. And the way they get around having it so short is that it can slide on this pin when it's open. So it's super easy to get on. It locks in no problem. I think this, let me zoom in on it. This beautiful, this is beautiful. I mean, you can see it's been scuffed up, it's been scratched. Like I said, I'm not a baby with watches, as anyone who follows the channel will know. And it's durable. I think I've maybe had it released accidentally, because it's not locked. It's not like a double lock or anything. I've had it released accidentally maybe once. Otherwise, it's just very, very good. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say about the watch. It's accurate. The lume is adequate. It's small. It's inobtrusive. It might be quartz, but it's quartz and proud, and does things that, it's not just like a bog standard quartz movement that's literally just a facsimile of mechanical movement and how it interacts with the user. It has the jumping hour, which is super useful. It has that Bond era, like, perfect balance to me of tool and dress, with that maybe a little bit of over, of trending towards the dress. So that, to me, that's a great option, and honestly, I couldn't ask for more in a watch. So, I have plans to maybe get some other watches next year. We'll see. But as far as I'm concerned, this is it. Like, this is perfect. I couldn't ask for anything more. And I'd highly encourage anyone that's kind of been in the same dilemma as me, looking for like an unobtrusive watch that just works every day, in and out, no matter what you're doing. I'd say give one of these a look. They're kind of a bargain right now. Used to be, at least when I first got into watches, that all the Bond era Omegas were a bargain. You used to be able to get the sword hand Seamasters for, under $2,000, mechanical. Mid-sizes closer to $1,000. You could get the Speedmaster Reduceds for under $2,000. Now everything is going up, even Omega stuff from this period, and so this is kind of one of the last bargains, I feel like, in Omega watches. Aside from the pre-bonds, which are also going up in price, but I got this one for under $900. I've seen them go for as low as like $675. Maybe from like a guy. I got this from someone that resells, so maybe not as good of a bargain, but he had it pressure tested and had it checked out, so it wasn't like I was just buying a watch from somebody, which is always nice. So yeah, I think this is a huge bargain. That's a lot of watch for, especially when, like Seiko's re-releasing the Alpinist right now. And, street price for that will probably be like $700 for a while. And to me, this versus that is no comparison. This is way better. I've got nothing against Seiko and the Alpinist, but to me, the 6-hour movement is not a $700 movement. And there's nothing about the Alpinist, like, I'm used to seeing the Alpinist for $400, so for me it's forever a $400 watch. And this is, it's just beautiful. The lug work, the twisted lug work is beautiful. Everything about it is beautiful. So I'll put the bracelet back on, do a quick shot with the bracelet, and then we'll call it a day. Alright, so here it is on the stock bracelet. As you can see, just super attractive in my mind, but Omega's always been the master, at least from this period on, of beautiful lug work. So the case design is really attractive, and even with the bumps and bruises it has, put it on my wrist so you can get an idea. I apologize, I don't really have a good tripod right now, so but here you go. I think it just looks perfectly natural on my wrist, and it doesn't get in the way. It's not heavy, so that's all I got for this watch. But take care, and hopefully I'll have some videos for you soon. Have a great Christmas. Obviously I won't have a new video before then, and a Happy New Year. Take care.